Hi everyone, you're joining us for a long overdue bus update. A lot has happened in the past few months. I took a bit of a hiatus this summer when I went to Colorado, and I came back and went back to the bus full force. We've gotten a lot done. The plan was to kind of finish up this month, but we didn't quite get there, so I'll have some more to do. It'll be a while till the next update again, but I'll let you know what we've been doing in the past few months. Alright, so to begin with, before we go inside and see all the nice shiny things that I'm sure everyone likes to see in these bus videos, I'll talk about what happened underneath. So in the past videos I've talked a lot about the amount of work that had to be done that nobody would really see. So a lot of mechanical work and utility work. So what we've done underneath the bus is we've mounted our water tanks. We have 100 gallons of fresh water and 100 gallons of gray water. Both of those weigh a lot, so we had to anchor those substantially, and that took a lot of time to build bracketry to hold those. We had to build a bracket to hold the 3 propane tanks that the bus will be holding. We had to run plumbing for our propane system, as well as build a battery box at the back of the bus to hold the batteries that will run the electrical system. So all of that took a substantial amount of time before we could even think about moving to the inside and doing the fun stuff, so to speak. So we can move inside since the underside there's not a lot to see there, but we'll move to the inside and I'll show you what we've been doing in there. Alright, so inside we have quite a few things in here that are just sitting here temporarily. We're about to put the bus back into storage, but as you can see, down along each side of the bus is really nice cedar siding that we've put up. This is what started out as rough sawn cedar that we've had sitting in storage for about 20 years. And we took the cedar and planed it several times. Each piece went through the planer approximately 4 times to get the nice smooth finish, and then the edges got beveled in the table saw, and each piece was straightened and before cut to length and then being installed. As you can see, we've also put up several walls in the back. I'll show you what we have layout wise back there in a moment. Alright, so behind the cedar siding we've also put up wool insulation, which is really cool. It's an all-natural product, obviously, non-toxic and biodegradable. It also has a really high R value and good moisture management abilities. So I chose that in here. It's a small space, so keeping this small space non-toxic was really important. So we have the wool insulation and then stickers behind to hold the cedar siding, nailing strips, and then the cedar siding nailed to that. This little channel that runs along the top between the metal siding and the cedar siding will be used to run all the wiring when we get around to that. And then also just a quick side note, I know before we put the bus away in the springtime I talked a little bit about the windows. All the windows got put in. Some of them I had to rearrange when I came back this fall due to layout changes. And then several of the windows towards the back I've actually eliminated and put metal blanks in their place where there's going to be a wall in front of it, but I'll explain that when we move back there. Up front here, this square cutout on the floor, that's where you access the propane tanks. As I mentioned before, 3 propane tanks go underneath there. And then this blue outline on the floor is where the couch is going to be built. So the propane tanks will be accessed through the couch when we get to that point. Let's see, a few other things. Stuff poking up through the floor in random spots. All this stuff is utilities that we've installed. So like you'll see an exhaust pipe for the hot water heater, propane line for the hot water heater, drain pipe for the sink, and then electrical and water conduits that traverse the bus to the other side. That stuff will make a little bit more sense when we have the cabinetry installed here. And then you'll see other stuff like the propane line for the furnace, for example, poking up through the floor there. All the appliances that I bought for the bus, and you'll see more when we're done, but this is one of them. All the appliances run on 12 volt, which is great because when I do eventually install solar, it's going to be more efficient to have the whole system run on 12 volt and not have to invert 12 volts up to 110 to run larger appliances. So I did a lot of research to make sure that our system was going to be efficient. Back here is kind of a special treat. This you may have seen in the background of some of the videos. I'm not sure if it's shown. This is a 1947 Wedgwood stove that I bought over a year ago, and it's been sitting in the garage, and it was in really deplorable shape. I actually bought two of them identical, and they were in such bad shape that for a long time I didn't think it was going to be worth it to save them. And finally I hemmed and hawed about it enough that I decided to undertake it. Really love the look of these stoves, and they just last forever. So I had the stove mechanically gone through and fixed and tuned up so it works properly. Then I brought it back home and completely cosmetically restored it. And it's not perfect, but it's really clean. A lot of the work was done kind of underneath. You know, stuff was repainted and just really cleaned up. You know, as best as I could, and it turned out really nice. I'm really happy with it. You know, one less thing to go in the landfill, and it's gonna certainly outlive the bus. And they work. These old stoves work really well. They're just as efficient as the new ones. But you know, the inside's the original enamel and whatnot, and it cleaned up really nice. So I'm happy with how that turned out. Some of the things I've not made very many weight-conscious decisions with regards to the bus. I like to think of it as a strategy that Ford used in the 1970s, road-hugging weight. So this is just going to float right along the road when it's done. Just keep it nice and firm to the pavement. Another thing over here, inconspicuously in this big long box, is the countertop. It's a piece of busher block. It's unfinished here, but you can take a look and kind of see what it looks like. So it'll probably be stained a little bit darker, but that'll be installed when the cabinets arrive, which will be in a few days. But that'll have to be when I come back from the ski season. Alright, so heading back to the back again. Again, there's just kind of stuff laying around, so apologize if it's a bit confusing right now. This right here is the shower, and then behind it the toilet. So this together is the bathroom, which is an area that I thought originally I was going to have to compromise a lot. It was not an area that was super important to me to have a lot of space, since you spend so little time in these areas, so I didn't mind if they were small. And when I laid them out, I was conservative with the sizing, and then once we framed it up, I found that it was actually pretty big. I'm really happy with how the size of them turned out. So this is the shower area, and I could not find a shower pan for this custom size, so I ended up building one out of steel, part of that road-hugging weight theme that I have going on. It's out getting powder coated right now, so it won't rust in the future. And then I did the cedar siding again, but I made shiplap. I added a shiplap groove to each end, so that'll go on the sides and it'll be nice, all in watertight. So that'll be coming up in the future. And then moving back, we have the toilet, which is Clancy's favorite room in the whole bus. No surprise there. And it's just turning out really great. It looks like a little mini sauna in here. It's going to have a composting toilet, which is a bit of a misnomer. It's more of just a dry toilet. I'm not really going to explain that in detail. You can look that up on your own, but very, no water usage whatsoever, and really easy to maintain if done properly. So we will we'll delve into that once it's all finished. And then over here we have the closet, which again, just another one of those things that I kind of planned on the conservative side and it ended up being a really nice size. And I sort of fit it between the space that I had in the kitchen and what I had in the bedroom, and I ended up with this, and it's great. I fit a full 4-foot dresser in here. This was a nice $5 yard sale find that I've put quite a bit of effort into cleaning up, but now it's stained to match everything else and looks pretty nice, and there's enough room to hang clothes here, so there'll be a clothes rod there. So yeah, that's another nice little space that we have. And then to the back of the bus, cozy little nook that we have. King size bed, which is really cool in such a small space, but it actually was for logistical reasons. The bigger the bed, the more storage space I had underneath. Otherwise, the space on either side of the bed would be wasted. So we went with the king size bed. This platform lifts up and it's all storage underneath. I would lift it up, but it weighs several hundred pounds and I don't have gas struts on it to help me lift it up yet. So we'll leave that down for now and I'll show you it when it's done. The toolbox will eventually go in that space so I can access my tools easily. This little odd nook here was, again, one of those odd spaces left over between the bathroom and the bed, and this is where all the electrical components are going to go. So the inverter, the battery charger, the solar controller, all of that's going to go into this space, and it'll make a nice shelf for the bedroom when it's done. In these boxes here we have really beautiful engineered hardwood flooring. This is kind of it's still hardwood flooring, but not in the most technical sense. It's plywood with a hardwood veneer on it, so it's a lot less expensive than real hardwood, but has the look and feel of real hardwood, and it's a lot thinner, which is good given that height is kind of an issue in here. So anyways, a lot has happened, and obviously we're still quite a ways from finishing, but a lot further along than the last time that you've seen the bus. Hopefully things look a little bit more promising at this point and a little bit easier to visualize how it's going to look. I know this is always the fun part of these bus conversions, is the inside and designing things exactly how you want, and it is. It is a lot of work, so we'll keep plugging away when I come back in the spring or in the fall, and we'll keep y'all updated, and hopefully we'll be wrapping this up soon. So thanks for following along, and I hope you've enjoyed these videos so far. So yeah.